There are multiple reasons as to why India were outclassed by Australia in the second test at the Adelaide Oval in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Well, their batters didn't really get those partnerships going, bowlers failed to hunt in pairs, and then there was Virat Kohli's form. He hasn't really gotten going ever since that 100 in Perth in the second innings of the opening test. But then now he has started to focus specifically on one of his key aspects of the game that could really prove to be useful for him in the remaining 3 test matches. Well, those visuals are going to be live up on Spots today very soon, and even Harbhajan Singh, Virat Kohli's former India teammate, has also gotten a close look of Virat Kohli's practice session in Adelaide before India leave for Brisbane. Well, Harbhajan Singh, he has spoken specifically on Virat Kohli's preparation at the Adelaide Oval with India practicing with the Red Cherry. He said that Kohli was actually playing a lot of deliveries on the back foot. Those deliveries which were slightly shorter, the back of a length deliveries, he was either leaving or trying to play them. And that's where maybe the specific preparation lies, because Kohli, keeping in mind the subcontinent conditions or his usual style of play, he is more of a front foot player. But then to succeed in Australia, you need a strong back foot display. Even in one of our earlier dugouts also, we had discussed at length as to why a certain Dhruv Jurel was successful in the second unofficial test between India and Australia A that took place at the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground, because his back foot display was pretty much assured, and that's why he was preferred over a certain Sarfaraz Khan for the opening test in Perth. Now, that's a different discussion altogether, that he didn't really do well there, Dhruv Jurel, but then his back foot display was one of the best of the India A batters that were there for that MCG game. And that's where maybe Virat Kohli also would want to focus on, keeping in mind that the remaining 3 test matches are going to take place in Brisbane, MCG and Sydney. In Brisbane and MCG, there is going to be a lot of steep bounce. There is going to be a possible return of Josh Hazlewood, who troubled him in the opening innings of the Perth test. And that's why maybe Kohli is specifically practicing on the shorter of the back of a length deliveries. While Bhaji on Kohli's preparation, he added that Kohli knows that Gabba will be a different wicket altogether, where he'll get to face a lot of bounce and pace, and that back foot game needs to be included. Because if one of the things that was clearly visible as far as India's batting at the Adelaide Oval is concerned, they weren't really leaving too many balls, or at the very same time, they weren't really defending too many balls. There was some resistance shown by both Shubman Gill and KL Rahul in the opening innings of the pink ball test, but then except that, there was nothing or no good signs from Indian batters, and that's why there was a collapse in both the innings. And if we talk just about Kohli, well, there was a little sign of temperament or the attitude that he showed in the second innings, but then he was once again undone by Scott Boland. In the first innings, he was undone by a rising delivery by Mitchell Starc, but in the second innings, once again, he poked his bat outside off and he was caught behind stumps. And that's where maybe Kohli is focusing more on his outside play, and at the very same time on the back of a length deliveries, which could really prove to be useful for India, because defending more than attacking is going to be key as the Border Gavaskar Trophy heads to Brisbane. Well, Bhaji also had an indirect advice for Kohli. He said that the people who have played here in the Australian conditions or faced a lot of steep bounce are Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh, Justin Langer and Matthew Hayden. They have a proven record in the down under conditions. They were good back foot players due to the bounce, and that's where maybe he has an advice for Kohli, who can probably take a cue from the likes of Ricky Ponting, Matthew Hayden, Justin Langer and even Steve Waugh. For that matter, even Adam Gilchrist, who scored most of his test runs in Australian conditions. Now, there can be an advice, obviously, that a certain Harbhajan is given to Kohli, but then Kohli now specifically focusing on his back foot display is a sure shot indication that India want not just Kohli but most of their other batters also to focus more on defending rather than just attacking, because it's one thing to be aggressive against Australian bowlers and it's also an important thing to tire them out, because it's a long series, and if you can get the better of them in Brisbane, then India are going to hold a massive advantage as the series heads to the Boxing Day test at the iconic MCG. What do you think about Kohli's preparation for the Gabba test, and do you think that it would prove to be useful for him? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis from the sporting world. Until then, on behalf of my producer Shashwat, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.